Soccer comes flying back into the desert in 2018 as Phoenix Rising FC open up their home schedule against OKC Energy FC, looking to take 3 points from the Oklahoma-based team who got 3 points in their Week 1 fixture against Tulsa. Phoenix coming off of that devastating draw against Orange County at Championship Stadium. Good evening, everybody. Tyler Terrens along with the incomparable Devin Kerr. We are so glad that you can join us for what should be a historic night at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex. And Devin, what an exciting time to be a fan here in the desert as this Phoenix team bolsters a number of extremely good players. But we're going to focus our attention on a man who's not rostered tonight for Oklahoma City Energy FC, but Francis Atuahene, one of the brightest stars coming out of this most recent MLS draft on loan from FC Dallas.
Well, he dominated in the Big Ten at Michigan from 15 to 17, and he definitely did not disappoint in his debut. Made an excellent reception in the middle of the field, nice little turnover, went the other way, one-on-one, got on the board in the opening 10 minutes. Unfortunately not rostered here this evening, but what a talent FC Dallas has on their hands, and the opportunity for OKC Energy to experience him as much as they can is going to be a great thing for the future to come.
FC Dallas actually traded up in the MLS draft and sacrificed $200,000 to get Atuahene. And then on the other side for Patrice Carteron, Solomon Asante in his Phoenix Rising FC debut was able to get a goal off this brilliant feed from Billy Forbes. He's going to be crucial for them moving forward.
I'll tell you, the boys came out firing last game. First 20 minutes, cruise control. Unfortunately slipped off a little bit later on in the game, but I'll tell you what, Asante did such an amazing job on the right-hand side. Billy Forbes getting to the byline, knocking a great ball across. That's what we expect out of him. That's what we expect out of Asante, and that's what we expect out of the Rising here tonight as they look to continue their path and gain another 3 points.
The Rising would end up drawing that game against Orange County, and obviously a number of fresh faces for Phoenix in the offseason as we have a number of players listed on here, and there's some that were actually left off. Jason Johnson, Chris Cortez re-signed, Amadou Dia as well. Carl Wazinski getting the start between the pipes tonight. Billy Forbes is actually on international duty with Turks and Caicos. He's going to be captaining that squad in their friendly, and just a whole host of terrific players that have joined the Phoenix Rising FC side, and now they'll finally get an opportunity to show what they've got in front of the home fans here at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex. It's Patrice Carteron and Phoenix Rising taking on Steve Cook and Oklahoma City Energy FC when we come back.
If you just sign that first
I'm
one
so
there.
sorry. I don't feel comfortable signing that.
I don't get the math here.
Was this the same car we talked about?
What's this dealer preparation fee?
I'm so sorry. This just is not.
What we talked about.
Get the car without the car salesman. Carvana, the new way to buy a car.
Worried about your kids' health care? Sick of doctor's offices with no appointments available? Let Happy Kids Pediatrics help. Our hand-picked staff is carefully cultivated to provide professional and compassionate care when your child needs it. Plus, we happily accept access, private insurance, and even offer special pricing for patients with no health insurance. With over 18 years providing quality health care to Valley children in our convenient Valley-wide locations, you can trust your child's health care to Happy Kids Pediatrics.
Get the max for your tax refund this year at Pruitt's. We've got furniture galore and low prices throughout the store. Like this leather match rocker recliner, available in 2 colors, just $299. Or this industrial look 5-piece counter height dinette, yours for just $399. Make the most of your tax rebate at Pruitt's. Visit today at Alma School and Ray or Thomas Road and 34th Street. Pruitt's, proudly serving the Valley for over 65 years.
Just moments away from kickoff here in the home opener for Phoenix Rising FC, as they'll be looking to take all 3 points from the visitors, who are Stevens Cook's band of a very solid OKC Energy FC. And we'll take a look at the starting lineup, Devin, and a couple of changes from last week. Matt Van Oekel getting the start. Cody Lorendi still rehabbing that ACL injury that he received in that game against Reno last season. But Ima Tuamasi getting his first professional start, and he'll be filling in for Atua Hene, who got the start last week.
Yeah, the switch there, and also Alex Dixon not playing tonight. Miguel Gonzalez stepping in for duty. So a couple things moving around for the OKC, and first-year coach Steve Cook moving the squad from a 4-4-2 to a 4-2-3-1. You saw a little bit of the frustration in their transition last week, looking to try and kind of solidify things in the middle for them. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be an interesting matchup with that formation for the Rising.
And then for Phoenix Rising FC, obviously it's going to be some sort of that 4-2-3-1 variation, but we have it listed as a 4-3-3 here. A couple of changes as well. As we mentioned, Billy Forbes on international duty with Turks and Caicos. Chris Cortez getting the start up top.
Yeah, and you see they threw Chris Cortez up top. Last game started Jason Johnson up solo and then moved him to the left. Patrice deciding to start him out there on the side in general, and talking to Patrice midweek saying we can put Jason Johnson wherever we want. He's such a speedster. If we can isolate him on the left, we think it's a great matchup. Again, the back line, I like what I'm seeing there. I like the fact Patrice is keeping them similar and getting these guys good camaraderie and good motion going forward.
And a look at Steve Cook, who's in his first season at the helm for OKC Energy FC. He was actually the interim head coach at the Colorado Rapids when they parted ways with the legendary Pablo Mastroeni. And Cook, who actually, when he moved to the United States, he was born in Sheffield, England. When he moved to the United States at 22 years of age, his first stop in his coaching career was in Phoenix. So this is a homecoming of sorts for him. But he spent the past number of years with Colorado. Then on the other side, Patrice Carteron, he needs no introduction. Fabulous player, and he's been doing an incredible job as a coach in his first full season, in his second season, if you will, with Phoenix. And he's looking to get his first 3 points under his belt in the 2018 season.
We'll dive into the Steve Cook conversation a little bit later on, give you a little bit more background on him. But again, going back to Patrice, talking to him midweek, we asked him, what did he think about last match? How did things go on? And he was happy with the boys, but he said he loved them coming out in the first 20 minutes. He loved the energy, being on the road, going out, getting the job done right away. And they kind of subsided in their performance a little bit, stepped off, wasn't really sure what direction they were heading in, tried to move some pieces around, and the elements started to come into play. But nonetheless, he said our goal is get 3 at home, get 1 on the road, and then from there we'll build and we'll get better.
Well, they ended up dropping all 3 points and settling for 1 as Orange County were able to equalize in the 90th minute by way of a fortuitous bounce that fell to Alex Cronali, as we are officially underway at the Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex for the first time in 2018. Tyler Terrens along with ex-German pro Devin Kerr. So glad that you can join us. Fabulous crowd on hand for the home opener for Phoenix. Drawing their last game, OKC Energy FC, able to take the Black Gold Derby for their own, a 1-0 win. It's Atua Hene with the lone goal in that affair. These two teams have collided a number of times over the past few years, and it's really provided some fantastic football. I have a feeling we'll see more of the same tonight.
Yeah.
There's an offside whistle. Just 1 change for Phoenix, and I think you and I can both agree that with Chris Cortez starting up top in that number 9 position, Didier Drogba not available tonight, and Johnson moving out left, that's probably his best position on the field.
I would agree for sure. I think Chris Cortez gives you the opportunity that, though he won't stretch the field in the manner that Jason Johnson will, he'll be able to hold the ball up a little bit better, which then in turn will free up Johnson on the left-hand side, give him the ability to get those one-on-one matchups that he would unlikely get if he was isolated up top.
Forward, Chris Cortez trying to hold things up for Phoenix. We're trying to get 3 points against an OKC Energy FC side that they've sort of started to develop a little rivalry with. And as you can see, neither team has been able to knock down the other one in consecutive matches. OKC was actually Phoenix Rising FC's first ever opponent back when they were Arizona United, and then obviously rebranding for the 2017 season. And 6 out of the 7 matches in this series decided by 1 goal. And while they're not exactly geographically close to each other, which lends for great rivalries, there's been no secret that both of these teams have been extremely successful over the past couple of years, and it's lent for great football.
Well, look at the 2 of them coming down the stretch in the USL last year. You could make the argument the 2 teams in the best form in the USL in general. Great closing performances. Unfortunately, couldn't close it out in the playoffs, but They're two very storied programs that are just looking to continue their traditions.
Nasty challenge there from Colin Fernandez, offering an apology to Sam Fink. Excuse me, not Sam Fink, who is now with St. Louis FC and was wearing number 4 last year, but rather Callum Ross. And Callum Ross having none of it. Callum Ross coming over from the Charlotte Independence, where he spent his rookie season. Was a mainstay of sorts for Mike Jeffries and Charlotte, who ended up finishing 5th in the Eastern Conference after being in first place for a large majority of the summer. Stumbled towards the end of the season, losing their last 5 straight, going winless for about a month stretch. And Callum Ross finding a home here now in OKC Energy FC.
Mike Jeffries looks to have gotten that squad back on track as they took down a little victory today.
2-0 win over Toronto FC 2. Jorge Herrera with his 2nd goal of the season. Caleb Calvert with the 2nd goal in the 42nd minute for Mike Jeffries' side. That's now a perfect 2-0 to start the season. Phoenix will be looking to get their first win. It certainly won't be easy, and Patrice Carteron well aware of this fact. And in our conference call with him, calling upon the fans, saying that they're going to need a ton of energy, no pun intended, to beat this Energy side.
I see what you did there.
Did you?
It was good.
Just making sure you're on your toes here.
4 minutes in, I appreciate it. You keep me awake.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how this OKC Energy FC team fares. No longer under the tutelage of Jimmy Nielsen. Club parting ways after Jimmy gave them a few incredible seasons and got them off the ground and running. 2 conference final appearances for Nielsen, conference semifinals as well. Weren't able to get over the hump and get that Western Conference championship crown, but they were a penalty kick or 2 away from headed to the USL Cup final against Louisville City FC last year. Went 11 rounds against Swope Park in the penalty shootout in 2017, and now Steve Cook takes over. And Cook, who didn't necessarily have a playing career, has coached at an extremely high level since coming to the United States at 22 years of age. And as we mentioned a few minutes ago, his first stop, and really when he moved to the U.S., he came straight to Phoenix and spent time with a number of clubs as assistant director, and eventually made his way over to the Colorado Rapids, where he was the Development Academy technical director, and then ended up filling in for Pablo Mastroeni when they let him go, and then it was just a complete makeover for the Colorado Rapids this offseason. Eventually hiring Alan Hudson, who's the youngest coach in Major League Soccer right now, and Steve Cook just has the praise of everybody in the soccer community as one of the bright and up-and-coming minds in world football.
Well, interesting with Steve Cook as well, Tyler. In this day and age, from a playing perspective, you see everybody kind of starting off, having a little bit of an apprenticeship. Steve Cook kind of did the same thing from coaching, starting off at 16, going to Carnegie College in the UK, and he steps up and he wanted to be a coach. That's oddly enough funny how you kind of fall into things, but he went right after it, and at the ripe old young age of 22 years old, offered a coaching job at Sheffield Wednesday in their youth academy. So obviously, like you said, guy's got a boatload of talent under him, and he's just continued to progress at every level.
Sir Alex Ferguson, legendary coach at Manchester United for 20 some odd years, said he didn't necessarily like the fact that there were coaches around the world who didn't have a professional playing career or didn't have a sparkling resume as a player. But there were a few who he did point out, and I think that Stephen Cook, while he may not be on Alex Ferguson's shortlist, I think that he's going to be somebody in this league and soccer in America who's really going to impress. And now he's in charge of his own club, and all of his ideas and theories and ideologies about soccer that he's learned over the past 10, 15 years are going to come out in his own club, and it's going to be fascinating to see how this club fares under his reign. Work from Phoenix here. Kyle Highland pops it right back up in the air. Deep throwing coming in for Phoenix, as we've had a little bit of a slow start to this one. Neither team really being able to connect anything too crisp in the final third.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
The gears aren't catching?
Yeah.
Good work from Phoenix here. Fernandez poked away at the last second as Johnson was looking to turn. Neat play there from Richard Dixon to keep the ball for OKC Energy FC. Jason Johnson sporting the captain's armband. Didier Drogba's not available. That was something that Patrice Carteron spoke to us about earlier this week, is that Jason Johnson taking on more responsibility, not only on the field, but off the field as well, mentoring young players, because he's getting to that point in his career where he's really in his prime, and taking on more responsibility is only going to make him better as a player coming off of a season where he scored 13 goals.
Even though he's 27 years old, like you said, Tyler, approaching the prime most likely. I mean, from a performance standpoint, we're definitely seeing he's getting better every year and really found a home here in Phoenix, and said that he relates so well to both sides of the locker room. He kind of gets along with the veterans, guys that are a little bit older than him, been around a little bit longer, but also able to make that connection with the younger kids. So kind of being that gel that ties the two together. And what a compliment to Jason Johnson getting to wear the captain's armband there this evening.
Nice pass.
Colin Fernandez in a little bit of space. Goes out wide. Asante sends it across. Cortez. Oh, that would have been clever.
Oh, nice rush.
Van Opel a little bit turned around there as he's trying to move his boys up the park. And how about Chrissy Cortez on the front post, getting very clever very early on. I like the ball movement. I'll tell you who I really liked last game and who's continued his performance here in the opening 10 minutes. It's Colin Fernandez. You know, in the preseason, Patrice was just moving so many pieces around, and we were kind of confused. What's going to happen in the back line? What's he going to do in the middle of the field? But Colin Fernandez, first 2 games here so far, has put him a couple nice shifts.
Johnson with a good idea moving forward. Big collision there. And there's going to be a foul call. Goal will not count, as it was Van Oekel, Ibianga, and Chris Cortez rather, who all collided, and it looks like it was Van Oekel who caught the brunt end of it. It's Patrice Carteron out of his seat.
Well, this is one that I'd really interested to see again. You can see Van Oekel down, catching a little knock, but Jason Johnson just lofting a little ball through, smart over the back of Ibiaga, and as I don't know about that, Jordan Cano just runs into his goalkeeper on his own. I'm not sure how they're blowing the whistle there on Chris Cortez. He's done nothing wrong whatsoever. That's very unfortunate for the Rising.
And Matt Van Oekel, who might have sold it to an extent after the fact, up on his feet and seemingly okay, and getting a little bit of shtick from the crowd here.
I'll tell you, that's something to keep an eye on from the Rising, though, because that's, though not caught by the referee, that's a big mistake by the center back, Jordan Cano of OKC, letting something like that come to fruition, giving Phoenix an opportunity. The youngster out at SMU just signed as a homegrown player from Dallas, and he's actually on loan, training with the club and OKC as well, so keep an eye on him, maybe isolate him a little bit more. An early mistake from that young man.
Players on loan from FC Dallas on this OKC Energy FC side. Cano, Tumasi, who's starting, wearing number 52, and then Francis Atuahene, who had the opening goal in his professional debut. All fantastic players, and just added another dimension of depth to the Steve Cook roster. OKC Energy on the break the other way. Miguel Gonzalez with some clever footwork, but just swarmed by 3 red jerseys. He ends up giving possession away. Cortez flicking it on. Solomon Asante off and running. Asante. Chip ball into the area. Jason Johnson! As his header flashed wide of the post. But how quick do Phoenix get out on the break?
Well, and this is exactly what we talked about in transition. And I'll tell you what, Patrice said they want to be a team that holds ball, holds possession. They've done it a little bit, but when they go the other way, it is poetry in motion. Excellent job moving the ball in and out of channels, and just Jason Johnson getting up. You forget how good he is in the air because he has so many opportunities at his feet, but great job from Cortez to start off. Ball gets outside, swung in. Well done from the boys going forward.
And our replays, as always, brought to you by our friends and Reese's Dental. Fans, remember, Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. Receive free shipping on orders over $50.
Scale of 1 to 10, every time you read that, how bad does it make you feel?
Really bad, because I know how much you love Select balls.
Love it. Love it.
I'll leave it at that. Big switch the other way. Decent first touch. Service whipped in. Dangerous ball. Still could be on Miguel Gonzalez. Claims for a handball not given by the referee. Richard Dixon in for Brown. And it looks like Mike DeFonte is injured behind the play. KC Energy FC with a nice little spell of possession here. Dixon slips on the surface here at the Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex. And eventually taken away by Jose Barril.
Well, credit to Mike DeFonte. Couldn't get much on it, but that was a dangerous ball played to the near post, and he got just the tiniest little touch to deflect it a little bit. OKC unable to retain possession, but sometimes as a center back, just that tiniest little deflection throws all the movement off of the opposing team, and you saw that right there.
Move forward, Miguel Gonzalez working on Kavan Lambert. So giving it away. Clever there from Owako. Amadou Dia. Jousting for position. Tumasi. Barril striding forward with purpose. Physical 15 minutes so far. Jonathan Brown. Richard Dixon trying to go through for Barril. Kavan Lambert going to use that big 6'4" frame and just see it out of play. And it was interesting to hear Patrice Carteron chatting with him earlier this week, saying that Kavan Lambert, he thinks his best position is probably an 8 or a 10, sitting in behind the striker. When to you and I, he seems like almost the picture-perfect number 6 and being able to hold up play in the middle of the field and put in great challenges and disrupt the other team's rhythm.
Patrice went so far as to say Kavan would be better playing at another position, that he would probably benefit them more somewhere else in the field, but that he needed him there because he was such a presence and has done such a good job for them. So credit to him. But yeah, it's interesting sometimes when you think that, wow, this kid was made for this spot on the field, and the head coach, his manager, telling you something totally opposite, that he would love to utilize him elsewhere.
Lambert getting a touch to that service from Kyle Highland, but surrendering a corner in the process. Corner kicks to by Carvana. Welshman Jonathan Brown trotting over. Late season signing for OKC Energy FC last year. Ended up becoming an integral part of the team that reached the Eastern Conference Championship as a 6th seed. Taking down the likes of Reno and San Antonio before losing to Swope Park. And penalty kicks went 11 rounds. Adrian Zendejas, the keeper for Swope at the time, tucking away the final penalty.
He's an interesting wild card for this OKC team and for the Phoenix to keep an eye on as well, because, you know, most recently playing in the Bangladesh League, the Welshman coming over and it's weird because he's got this great presence and height, running right around 6 foot. He's a speedster, but he handles all the dead ball situations, jumps on the corners, jumps on the set pieces, and you would think that they would utilize him differently because he is very good in the air, but obviously Steve Cook seeing a little bit more on the training ground than we have, since we haven't been there at all. And he's a pleasure to watch. The last game he came out, and game versus Tulsa was just kind of all over the match. I'm not really sure anybody knew what they were being thrown into with him. And he's isolated up top, so Rising need to stay composed, stay organized as they have been, and shut him down.
Fonte, Luigi Mala, two center backs for Phoenix, just playing catch along the back line.
Watch the left side of the field for the Rising tonight as Johnson moves outside. Notice Amadou Dia has taken a little bit more of an attacking role. Didn't see that in the first game. He was a little bit more subsided, staying towards his defensive efforts as Devontae DuBose on the right side kind of had his run of play. Owako and Asante helping him out.
Devontae DuBose, Virginia Tech Hokie. Fernandez going out wide. Here's Asante going to work. Spinning Highland like a top, sends it across. And nodded away. But the crowd here at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex loving what Solomon Asante is bringing to the table. He didn't necessarily have an outstanding preseason, Solomon Asante. And he showed terrifically in Irvine last week against Orange County, and off to a nice start here in the first 20 minutes of the home opener in 2018.
You and I chatting off broadcast about that, Tyler, and going a step further about a couple guys in the squad that night and day from what we saw in the preseason, but attribute that to some of what went on in the preseason and all of the talent that they took on. I mean, all of these MLS squads, and asking Patrice and saying, hey, you know, do you attribute your high level of play and your intensity to the preseason and just taking on better teams? And he said, you're 100% correct. Absolutely. That's what we were going for, and that's what we did. And that shows you exactly where his mindset is. You know, even though they didn't exactly put up the numbers in every game to go out and win the contest, you saw solid performances by the guys each and every game, getting better. You could see him kind of pulling the pieces here and there, looking for his starting 11. And really, most of the questions were concerned with the back line, but they've done very well so far.
Owako was trying to line up the shot, and it's going to be a yellow card for Juan Pablo Guzman, much to the delight of the crowd here at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex. And Devin, being a former center back who is known for putting in bone-crunching tackles like that one, you sort of jumped out of your seat, and now Richard Dixon getting a yellow card for dissent. Devin, you don't necessarily agree with the call, do you?
I'd be curious to see if they had another angle on that. I understand, like you said, he was lining up a shot, but I'm all for defending our boys in red, but at the same point in time, I kind of thought it was an okay tackle, but it's really hard to tell from that angle that we just saw. Someone else on the backside for a little bit of dissent, possibly grabbing a second yellow. You're going to get another look here. That's a rough one. I think that's very difficult for the referee. A nasty tackle for sure. You're going to see another look. I don't think that's a foul.
He was extremely quick to pull out the mustard as well after the fact.
Yeah, I think it's because he came from the slightest bit of an angle from behind. Don't be surprised. Cortez has a go here on goal. Test the goalkeeper.
Cortez trying to put it on frame. Can't get it down in time to challenge Van Oekel. Richard Dixon picking up a yellow card. I mean, it was really a rough sequence for OKC Energy FC, as you have two guys who are mainly playing defensive positions. Juan Pablo Guzman in the midfield, but more of a holding position for Steve Cook. But it's the last thing you want to see, and you might see Richard Dixon come off and try to avoid him getting a second yellow at some point in the game.
That's something that's going to benefit the Rising for sure. And talked about the youngster Jordan Cano at the back. He made the early mistake. Now you've got Richard Dixon sitting on a yellow. The holding midfielder Juan Pablo on a yellow card as well. So Phoenix continue as they go forward with the numbers. Just keep that in your back of your mind that, hey, if I have the optimal matchup, maybe go that direction, force the referee's hand.
Kyle Hyland, early delivery.
That's well done by Amadou Dia. Great challenge, excellent clearance.
Tumasi. A lot of traffic in front, and Wozinski able to keep it in play. At every Phoenix Rising home match during the 2018 season, 2 lucky fans will be upgraded to sit in the best seats in the house, courtesy of Pruitt's Fine Furniture. These lucky winners will not only enjoy tonight's action in the most comfortable seats directly on the pitch, but those luxury reclining chairs will also be delivered to their home next week as a gift from Phoenix Rising FC and Pruitt's Fine Furniture. Fernandez, great ball across, intended for Cortez. And that's a very important challenge from Cano.
And there's the matchup we were talking about. Dixon being isolated on the right-hand side, sitting on that yellow card, and Colin Fernandez coming out of the middle, knocking an excellent ball across. A little stutter step, great ball played in, just a little 5-hole action, and Chris Cortez just getting in behind the back line a little bit, see if he can get a better angle here as he knocks the ball across. Yeah, Cortez just caught ball watching a little bit, trying to poach a little bit too early.
Juan Pablo Guzman encouraging Gonzalez forward, but DeBose and Luigi Mala had it covered from the get-go. That's what the Welshman is in there for, just that brute strength to be able to hold off defenders and hold up play, much similar to a Chris Cortez on the other side.
They're very strong in the lower body area, and you see him win a lot of 50-50 challenges and that nice shoulder charge that you get out of an isolated striker up top. Keep an eye on Hyland here. He's got a very long throw in that arsenal of his.
This one comes in. Only one there to get it is Mike DeFonte. Sante got clipped. Foul going the other way in favor of Phoenix. Cortez challenging. Tumasi on the move. Look at the pace from the youngster. Going out wide. Richard Dixon sends it across. Handled well by DeFonte, but Phoenix surrendering another corner.
We haven't been able to call Eamon Tumasi's name very much so far, at least not as much as we heard Francis Atuaheni in the first game that they came out in, but what a dimension that young man provides, huh? Those guys are just such speedsters, and out of Wake Forest and Michigan respectively.
Good.
Solid talents for FC Dallas.
Corner coming in from Brown towards the back post. Knotted in front. Anybody's ball. And Cortez able to clear it away. Only as far as Richard Dixon. Kyle Hyland. He's going to try his luck from about 40 yards out. Flick on from Cortez. Asante the other way. Oh, what a goal! Solomon Asante in back-to-back games. Phoenix are on to something special with this man. A terrific strike from Solomon Asante. And he opens the goal-scoring account here at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex in 2018. 1-0 to the home side.
And just like that, once again, the Phoenix Rising turning the switch really quick. Super Solomon Asante getting in behind the back line. Woo! Screamer to the upper 90. What a finish. See Jordan Cano getting caught out of position just a little bit, trying to dive at the end. But not much Matt Van Oekel can do as the Rising jump out 1-0.
And look at the embrace from Patrice Carteron. Asante was under Carteron's tutelage at TP Mazembe back in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And Asante really enjoying his time here in the United States, specifically in Phoenix. What a goal.
You can see the frustration and bewildered look by Matt Van Oekel in between the pipes back there, and that's just, there's not much as a goalkeeper you can do. I mean, positioned well. You can see the back line sliding over. Again, center back Jordan Cano just exposed a little bit. Asante taking advantage of the youngster, giving him just the slightest bit of space. Took full advantage of that opportunity for sure.
I mean, how do you defend the pace of Phoenix? You have Cortez able to hold up play, and then lightning quick from both Jason Johnson and Asante. Billy Forbes isn't even here.
Yeah, that's one of the things that, as a coach and Steve Cook, you gotta look at during your scouting report midweek, saying, okay, if they don't put Johnson up top, who's going to go there? If they move Johnson outside, okay, Drogba. Okay, what's Drogba going to bring in? Okay, what if they go with Cortez? And that's something that would come up on your scouting report. You're going to see that balls are going to be played into him, and look in the combination play coming off of him, like we just saw. Cortez bringing out numbers, ball knocked in behind, and then you get the 1v1 matchups, and that's where you get the young center back that just kind of gets ball watching a little bit, gets caught just the tiniest bit out of position, gives Phoenix an opportunity.
Top of the free kick, half an hour played here in the desert. Brown, it's a great ball. Oh, how did somebody not get a touch to that from OKC Energy FC? And you can see the frustration from Christian Ibiaga.
You can see Waz having a few words, more than a few words, with every single person associated with the Rising. Can't let a ball like that drop. Not whatsoever. And I tell you, Jonathan Brown, he took the tiniest little look right at the end there. Keep an eye on him, because Waz was positioned on the back post for sure, waiting for the ball to be swung in. Don't be surprised if Brown maybe has a crack next time, lined up for a cross, try and catch him out of position.
Sign, looking for a response to that Solomon Asante screamer. Claims that the ball went out of bounds. Benoit says play on. Decent ball through, and Jonathan Brown goes flying into one of the advertisement stanches.
Solid sportsmanship from Luigi Malo, as well as they gave him a little friendly nudge, and then happy to help him up off the carpet once he gives him a little shove.
Fans, make sure to visit your Valley local supermarket and pick up a Phoenix Rising branded bottle of Arizona Gunslinger. Flick on from Cortez. Jason Johnson hunting after it, and he'll end up winning it. Fernandez gets it through for Awako. Crowded area, through for Cortez, saved by Van Oekel. The flag ended up staying down, and Chris Cortez maybe was expecting it to go up.
It's a weird string of events there. Is going back almost about 30 seconds, Cortez took a nasty shot in the back that allowed Johnson to chase the ball down on the side, and then it just bounced around a little bit. I think he's got to do a little bit better from there. How clever from Awako going to goal and just squirts through. I mean, you gotta put it off the goalkeeper there. You can't hit it right at him.
Not only that, it looked like he was blatantly offside, no?
Top side of the screen. No, Kyle Highland has.
Good ball forward for Johnson. Jason Johnson, what a save from Van Oekel. And fired up is Matt Van Oekel. And why not? The back line fell asleep. Jason Johnson was in until he wasn't. Wow.
Frustration running rampant for Matt Van Oekel, and the OKC Energy is again disorganization from the defensive side of the ball. I mean, there's my nominee for save of the week. That was class. Near post, bottom corner, picked out. No, thank you.
Colin Fernandez on top of the corner. Comes to the near side, and it was either Cortez or Johnson who could have gotten a foot to it. And they'll be able to run this one back. We've had a nominee for probably goal of the week and save of the week in about a 10-minute span. Corner kicks brought to you by our friends at Carvana. Fernandez. Much better ball this time. It's loose in front, and Highland sends it the other way. Sante able to keep it in play. Here from OKC Energy. Baril. Spring Tomasi. Does a great job to not surrender the goal kick. Johnson. The flag stays down. Stood up by Christian Ibiaga. Showed a little bit too much of that to the central defender. A foul going the other way. Look at this save from Matt Van Oekel. The ball in from Cortez was choice, as was the first touch from Johnson, and then doesn't get much better than that.
Literally a fingertip save. Swats it out of midair, and talk about all the different dimensions and possibilities the Rising have going forward. Sometimes you see a lineup from Patrice. We used to see it last year, and you almost go, really? Why are you changing this? Or why are you doing that? Kind of wonder, why mess with the recipe for success when you did so well last week, at least in the opening moments of the game? But again, moving Johnson outside, Cortez up top, and he has just been all over the pitch for them so far. And the energy just, again, I've used the word, but the disorganization and the communication disorganization's prevalent, communication not good enough. You can see the frustration just continuously building for Matt Van Oekel as Phoenix finding wave after wave of opportunity, just squeaking in behind the back four.
Fonte bends it in behind the back line. Cortez, the flag is up.
Offsides.
This is where Patrice Carteron wants to see his team elevate their game to another level when they get an early goal, and that was their demise in Irvine last week. Was they essentially just stopped playing after the goal. Really didn't muster up too many chances after that.
Yeah, they took the foot off the accelerator for sure, and you can see the space that they have to work with. You know, last game, the most we saw coming out of the back was basically Devontae DeBose on the right-hand side of the pitch, getting up and down, overlapping runs, combination play. You've seen more out of Amadou Dia tonight, and what a great ball we just saw a second ago from Mike DeFonte. And what they're doing is they're moving things around, and it's causing frustration by OKC. So much so that Matt Van Oekel a second ago, he looks up and he's pointing at Ibiaga and saying, hey, you know, when they switch, you have to pass man to man. They're basically playing zone in the back, but you've got to communicate very well, because when your back's turned and runners are going crossing left and right, all you have is communication. No one has eyes in the back of their head. Phoenix capitalizing on it. OKC need to reorganize.
And this corner will have to wait. Support groups providing a little background music while we wait for this corner to come in. Banditos, Red Fury, and all the supporters of Phoenix Rising FC, some of the best in the USL. Their side is up 1-0 right now. Corner kick coming in from Brown.
You fear the energy. OKC has had trouble getting the ball back into the mixer. Phoenix pushing a high line and making them cause those untimely turnovers. Try and keep the ball here. Make the Rising come to you, make them chase.
Ibiaga. Phoenix closing down the ball in a hurry, forcing OKC Energy to play the ball in a negative fashion. Dia with a little bit of work to do. A fall for Baril. Von Lambert to the rescue. Great work from Asante. Lambert leading the charge the other way. Too far out in front of Asante as Cano sends it into the stands.
Got ahead of themselves.
It's almost one from Kevon Lambert. You want to see him just have a little bit more patience, hold the ball for a second. As he holds, runner's going to step to him, let the overlapping run develop, then play the channel ball. Good tackle there from Jordan Cano.
I've been singing this song for a long time. Right?
American Athletic Conference Defender of the Year in 2017, Jordan Cano. Southern Methodist University. This ball sent in and a little bit behind Jason Johnson.
Great pass.
Wins it back. Cortez trying to go through for Lambert. Better job defensively from Phoenix here. The opposition's defensive third than we saw in week 1 at Orange County. Make sure to watch Phoenix Rising FC's next match at Reno 1868 FC, March 31st on Cox 4. Should be a great matchup as Reno right now, we're getting set to take on Las Vegas in the Silver State Cup, newly branded Battle for Nevada. Should make for scintillating derby rivalry.
about the scheduling that the Rising are taking on here in the next couple weeks. Dealing with the Energy tonight, Reno. Then they go deal with the Monarchs. Gonna go visit Los Dos and then home again to Swope Park. That's a rough little gauntlet they're gonna have to jump through.
Los Dos actually taking on Fresno tonight. Los Dos sporting a number of academy players. This one sent through, takes a wicked bounce, and Wazinski off of his line to claim it. Jonathan Brown thought he might be able to get a cheap one, but Wazinski, as he has been all preseason, on top of his game.
Was doing a very good job stepping up and making save after save last week for sure. A little bit more active. Not called upon as many instances this evening, but a good job nonetheless.
Cortez out wide for Johnson. The Jamaican tries to send it across. It's denied by Cano, but a corner kick coming up for Phoenix.
Difficult for Jason Johnson there, as you know, he only had a little bit of space, but as ball gets played down to the byline and Johnson's kind of bring that back across, he's got to see Cortez diving for that back post, put a little bit of loft on it, try and pick him out.
Latson Owako standing over the corner. That's brought to you by Carvana. Owako. Fernandez keeping it in play. Collision at the top of the box. Cortez going for goal, and it finds the back of the net. It's 2 for Phoenix right before the stroke of halftime. Chris Cortez opens his goal-scoring account in 2018, and the home side has doubled their delight here at the Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex.
Well, I tell you, I feel the frustration for Matt Van Oekel as just no one stepping up to make a play whatsoever. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4 opportunities, all with inside the 18. Missed 50-50 there, a second one there, a third one there, and frustration just turns to fury for Chris Cortez as he has plenty of time right at the top of the box, takes one little touch, and just a nice little half volley upper corner. I mean, what can you do if you're Matt Van Oekel? Credit to Chris Cortez, but OKC Energy shooting themselves in the foot once again.
And that's how we will end the first half, on an extremely high note for Phoenix. Chris Cortez gets his first of the 2018 USL schedule. And Phoenix head into the dressing room up 2-0. Devin Kerr, your thoughts?
Rising doesn't change a thing. Continue to push in the second half. Be the offensive prowess and firepower that you're known to be, and continue to shake things up. OKC and Steve Cook back to the drawing board defensively, reorganize the troops, come out in the second half, and figure out what you can do in this hostile environment to get back in this game.
Chris Cortez with 5 goals in 2017, gets his first in 2018 right before halftime. Solomon Asante got us started with an absolute screamer. OKC Energy FC with plenty of work to do and plenty to talk about. We're heading to halftime here in the desert.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Yo soy el Dr. José Francisco Carrasco de Happy Kids Pediatrics. Para nosotros, sinceramente, lo más importante es la salud y el bienestar de sus niños.
Happy Kids Pediatrics son clínicas especializadas en pediatría enfocadas en la salud y el bienestar de los niños con localidades cómodas, limpias y cercanas a usted. Podrá ver al mismo proveedor médico constantemente. Aceptamos access, aseguranzas privadas y precios especiales para pacientes sin seguro médico. Happy Kids Pediatrics, sirviendo a la comunidad hispana por más de 18 años.
If you just sign that first
I'm
one
so
there.
sorry. I don't feel comfortable signing that.
I don't get the math here.
Was this the same car we talked about?
What's this dealer preparation fee?
I'm so sorry. This just is not.
What we talked about.
Get the car without the car salesman. Carvana, the new way to buy a car.
Tax season is here. Get the max for your refund at Pruitt's. You'll find savings on hundreds of pieces, so you can make the most of your rebate. Like this casual bonded leather 2-piece sectional, yours for just $499. Or this Willenberg tufted queen bed, headboard, footboard, and rails, just $399. Visit Pruitt's for the lowest prices and best selection at Alma School and Ray or Thomas Road and 34th Street. Pruitt's, proudly serving the Valley for over 65 years.
Back here at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex for the home opener for the Red and Black, as they currently have a 2-0 lead over OKC Energy FC. Chris Cortez finished up the scoring in the first half just a few moments ago. Solomon Asante got us started, and what a goal it was, coming around the 28-minute mark, as we'll look ahead to Phoenix's next match against Reno 1868 FC, as they will head to Reno on March 31st, a week from today, in what should be a terrific matchup. Reno scoring 3 goals in week 1, ended up falling to Swope Park 4-3. Carlton Belmar had 2 goals and 2 assists. That is the next match coming up for Phoenix, and you'll be able to watch that game on Cox 4. And we're going to step aside just for a few moments to take a look at round 2 of the interview with USL President Jake Edwards.
Hi, we're being joined today by Jake Edwards, President of the USL. Just getting ready to kick off an exciting 2018 season. Jake, thank you very much for joining us today.
Great, my pleasure.
Looking at some of the players, we've had a number of internationals now that call the USL home. What does that mean to you and the rest of the folks at the league that we're seeing so many of these world-class players now apply their trade here with the USL?
It's important. It's a testament to the growth of the league, the exposure the league's getting around the world now, that players in a number of countries are now seeing the USL regularly, appreciating the quality of what's going on here, and want to make this the league they want to play in, whether that's Didier Drogba, Joe Cole, and players of that caliber and quality who have played at the very highest level. We've had a significant amount of players this season that have played in the Gold Cup, that have played in the World Cup qualifiers, that are playing full senior international, as well as a nice mix of some of the next best players coming out of this country, you know, players on the under-20 national teams. And it's an exciting mix on the field, and I think it just speaks to the commitment and the investment that the owners are making into their clubs, the quality of coaches we now have in our league, and their ability to recruit players from all around the world. And I think it's just the quality of the competition certainly attracting better and better players.
You touched on coaching a little bit with the number of call-ups that we've seen as well from the players here at the USL playing for their national teams. What does that speak to in terms of the quality of coaching that we've seen?
It's great, and it's an area of our league we take seriously and we spend a lot of time on. We have a full-time department here that just works with our coaches. It is critical that we continue to attract better coaches all the time. We've got coaches now that have coached at the MLS, that have coached in Liga MX, that have coached in some of the top leagues around the world. What that brings is an understanding of what it takes to build a professional football club and how to instill a real football culture. Make no mistake, it's a large reason why we have so many top-class players coming in the league, and it's testament to the quality of coaches. Last year we had 2 coaches go on the new Federation Pro license. Now we've got 9 coaches on the Pro license this year, and more coming next year.
Back here at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex, a little bit of a pump fake as we did not finish up the first half. There's 2 minutes of stoppage time added on as they had to suspend play for a few moments. And we're just going to wrap up the first half. An academic 2 minutes of stoppage time, but perhaps an opportunity for Phoenix to get a third, or OKC Energy FC to cut the deficit in half. As a lot of the fans have made their ways to the concession stands here at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex. Tyler Terrens along with Devin Kerb. Can comfortably say that that's the first time that's happened.
I was halfway through my mid-half IV. Trying to get my liquids in me for the second half, but referee had other ideas.
Did you have a long night last night?
I just got to sit next to you and get frustrated, and I perspire. I got to try and keep up with you. There's a lot of things going on over here you don't know about.
Sounds like a disaster. You're perspiring, you're frustrated sitting next to me. Sounds like you're not having any fun.
This relationship is going in the wrong direction.
Was it ever going in the right one?
At a time. The honeymoon phase. Honeymoon phase mostly.
Cortez asking for a handball. Mala quite literally shoved out of bounds. Last touch is going to be off Jonathan Brown. Blanco muscled from behind, drawing the foul. That should take us to the real halftime. Forward, easy work for Van Oekel. Devin, you mentioned that there wasn't much that Van Oekel could do on that Cortez goal, but he did get a solid fist to it, as that's going to bring us to the actual halftime. Status quo as Phoenix will head into the dressing room with a 2-0 lead, but I'm going to pose the question to you. If he got that solid of a touch to it, Van Oekel, he's going to look at him there. Should he have kept it out?
No, he's just that solid of a goalkeeper. It's solid positioning. He saw the play developing, and again, as a goalkeeper, you can only do so much. You can only have so much talent and make such a good save. You need assistance and support from the rest of your squad, and you know, unfortunately, Van Oekel in the first half left out to dry a lot.
Well, we do finally have an update as to why play was suspended before heading into stoppage time. A fan had actually thrown a beer bottle onto the field, so they just wanted to get all the players off and make sure everybody was safe and get that fan removed from the grounds. As we officially will head to halftime, Phoenix Rising FC with a 2-0 lead over OKC Energy FC. And we will take a full look at that interview with USL President Jake Edwards.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Yo soy el Dr. José Francisco Carrasco de Happy Kids Pediatrics. Para nosotros, sinceramente, lo más importante es la salud y el bienestar de sus niños.
Happy Kids Pediatrics son clínicas especializadas en pediatría enfocadas en la salud y el bienestar de los niños con localidades cómodas, limpias y cercanas a usted. Podrá ver al mismo proveedor médico constantemente. Aceptamos access, aseguranzas privadas y precios especiales para pacientes sin seguro médico. Happy Kids Pediatrics, sirviendo a la comunidad hispana por más de 18 años.
If you just sign that first
I'm
one
so
there.
sorry. I don't feel comfortable signing that.
I don't get the math here.
Was this the same car we talked about?
What's this dealer preparation fee?
I'm so sorry. This just is not.
What we talked about.
Get the car without the car salesman. Carvana, the new way to buy a car.
Tax season is here. Get the max for your refund at Pruitt's. You'll find savings on hundreds of pieces, so you can make the most of your rebate. Like this casual bonded leather 2-piece sectional, yours for just $499. Or this Willenberg tufted queen bed, headboard, footboard, and rails, just $399. Visit Pruitt's for the lowest prices and best selection at Alma School and Ray or Thomas Road and 34th Street. Pruitt's, proudly serving the Valley for over 65 years.
Hi, we're being joined today by Jake Edwards, president of the USL. Just getting ready to kick off an exciting 2018 season. Jake, thank you very much for joining us today.
Great, my pleasure.
Looking at some of the players, we've had a number of internationals now that call the USL home. What does that mean to you and the rest of the folks at the league that we're seeing so many of these world-class players now apply their trade here with the USL?
It's important. It's a testament to the growth of the league, the exposure the league's getting around the world now, that players in a number of countries are now seeing the USL regularly, appreciating the quality of what's going on here, and want to make this the league they want to play in, whether that's Didier Drogba, Joe Cole, and players of that caliber and quality who have played at the very highest level. We've had a significant amount of players this season that have played in the Gold Cup, that have played in the World Cup qualifiers, that are playing full senior international, as well as a nice mix of some of the next best players coming out of this country, you know, players on the under-20 national teams. And it's an exciting mix on the field, and I think it just speaks to the commitment and the investment that the owners are making into their clubs, the quality of coaches we now have in our league, and their ability to recruit players from all around the world. And I think it's just the quality of the competition certainly attracting better and better players.
You touched on coaching a little bit with the number of call-ups that we've seen as well from the players here at the USL playing for their national teams. What does that speak to in terms of the quality of coaching that we've seen?
It's great, and it's an area of our league we take seriously and we spend a lot of time on. We have a full-time department here that just works with our coaches. It is critical that we continue to attract better coaches all the time. We've got coaches now that have coached at the MLS, that have coached in Liga MX, that have coached in some of the top leagues around the world. What that brings is an understanding of what it takes to build a professional football club and how to instill a real football culture. Make no mistake, it's a large reason why we have so many top-class players coming in the league, and it's testament to the quality of coaches. Last year we had 2 coaches go on the new Federation Pro license. Now we've got 9 coaches on the Pro license this year, and more coming next year. So those coaches are doing tremendous work at the clubs, from the first team all the way down to the youth programs in the community.
Halftime between Phoenix Rising FC and OKC Energy FC, as we'll take a look at some of the news and notes around the United Soccer League. As you know, the rivalry between Reno and Las Vegas begins. The battle for Nevada, named the Silver State Cup. Home debuts for Nashville today, and they saw north of 18,000 attend their home opener, as they'll be headed to Major League Soccer next season. And then USL teams off to a lightning quick start as far as the goal scoring is concerned, and part of that was Carlton Belmar, who had 2 goals and 2 assists in their 4-3 win against Reno. And Belmar continually proving to be one of the best players in the USL year in and year out, and helped them get to the USL Cup final in 2017. As now we'll take a look at some of the expansion teams heading into the USL. And first season success, Sacramento, Louisville, FC Cincinnati, all these teams who came into fruition over the past 3 or 4 years, and there's just been a ton of opportunity at hand for these teams, and they're able to get players, and they're able to get them to gel so quickly. It's mighty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, you go after Nashville, for instance. We'll use them this year, one of the expansion teams, and very tactile and a possession-oriented squad. They should do pretty well. Unfortunately, got stuck behind the 8 ball a little bit with Lou City in the first week. Dropped down Slugger Field 2-0. Coming out a better showing today, tied Pittsburgh 0-0, so trying to get back on the right track. But it's crazy to think that you come in the first year in the league and just, like you said, having so much success. And Dane Kelly in his amazing year with Reno last year, moving on to the MLS, and FC Cincinnati, not only a great job last year, but then following up, maybe not the performance they wanted in the season itself, but what a run they made in the U.S. Open Cup.
Unbelievable, and I think that, you know, we've talked about this a couple of times. Phoenix, who's not necessarily an expansion team, but you know, while we're here at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex, we'll sort of draw the parallels with all of the depth that they've added. You know, they might be trying to make some noise in the U.S. Open Cup themselves this season, because at the end of the day, that's what ended up being FC Cincinnati's demise, was sort of their lack of depth, because while they had the talent to be able to go toe-to-toe with those MLS teams, they ended up faltering in the league and losing in the first round of the USL playoffs. A look at some of the scores from around the league. Louisville City and North Carolina FC, which a lot of people were looking forward to, including yourself, Devin, did not end up happening due to poor pitch conditions. Indy 11 getting 3 points against Richmond. Nashville, as you mentioned, 0-0 against Pittsburgh. Charleston sneaking away with a win against the newly branded Penn FC, formerly known as the Harrisburg City Islanders. Portland Timbers 2 eking out 3 points against Steve Tritchew's Colorado Springs Switchbacks. And just a whole host of games going on this weekend and today, and it's a ton of good soccer, and I am just so glad that the USL is back, because it is just so much fun to be able to do these games and to be able to watch so much talent around the league.
The San Antonio FC St. Louis game as well. It's kind of a track meet a little bit. San Antonio's creeping back in the 70th minute or so. And a 2-1 goal. Whew. Look at next week's schedule, huh?
A couple of big ones there. I mean, you know, we were talking about this off air, but Indy 11 FC Cincinnati, that's going to be a terrific game. Indy 11 obviously new to the league. FC Cincinnati establishing themselves as a powerhouse. Who do you got there?
Right on the spot, huh? Just throw him in the limelight.
That's what this job is, baby.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll take the Indy 11 squad. I'll take the expansion
At
boys
home,
coming out.
You're a homer anyway.
Yeah, get out there. Get it done. Get her done.
Well, 2-0 lead for Phoenix Rising FC here in the home opener in the desert. Asante and Cortez the goal scorers. Second half kickoff in just a few moments.
If you just sign that first
I'm
one
so
there.
sorry.
we'll
I don't feel comfortable signing that.
I don't get the math here.
Was this the same car we talked about?
What's this dealer preparation fee?
I'm so sorry. This just is not.
What we talked about.
Get the car without the car salesman. Carvana, the new way to buy a car.
Worried about your kids' health care? Sick of doctor's offices with no appointments available? Let Happy Kids Pediatrics help. Our hand-picked staff is carefully cultivated to provide professional and compassionate care when your child needs it. Plus, we happily accept access, private insurance, and even offer special pricing for patients with no health insurance. With over 18 years providing quality health care to Valley children in our convenient Valley-wide locations, you can trust your child's health care to Happy Kids Pediatrics.
Get the max for your tax refund this year at Pruitt's. We've got furniture galore and low prices throughout the store. Like this leather match rocker recliner, available in 2 colors, just $299. Or this industrial look 5-piece counter height dinette, yours for just $399. Make the most of your tax rebate at Pruitt's. Visit today at Alma School and Ray or Thomas Road and 34th Street. Pruitt's, proudly serving the Valley for over 65 years.
Second half kickoff just a few moments away between Phoenix Rising FC and OKC Energy FC. Phoenix currently with a 2-0 lead thanks to goals from Solomon Asante and Chris Cortez. Tyler Terrens along with ex-German pro Devin Kerr, as we have seen some scintillating stuff from Phoenix. OKC Energy FC really yet to muster anything up worth of note, as we'll take a look at some of the best moments from the first half. And Phoenix, right from the get-go, we're knocking on the door of OKC Energy FC. Chris Cortez almost able to put that one home with a clever little flick, and it was really the combination of Cortez and Johnson which just gave this OKC Energy FC backline all sorts of trouble.
Come on, Patrice constantly telling us they want to be a possession-oriented team, and I said, why would you want to do that when you're so good at transition? They're showing you both options here tonight. You know, they're moving the ball around the park really nice. Inside, outside, great balls in, great service from every single person, and literally starting from the back, going forward. I mean, we've seen great balls coming out of the back from Devontae. We've seen phenomenal play from Chris Cortez up top, holding the ball up, and also great service from him as well. And then, of course, Solomon Asante on the outside, just getting things going early on again, like he did the last game. Just catches an absolute screamer to the near post. And Matt Van Oekel does his best. Gets a little bit of a touch to it. but almost doesn't count.
OKC Energy FC probably with their best chance there, as the free kick was not able to be touched in by anybody, and Jason Johnson denied by Matt Van Oekel. And like you said, Devin, I mean, he's been putting himself in great positions to make saves. And this one right here, can't really explain this if you're OKC Energy FC. This has to drive Steve Cook mad. How does Chris Cortez get that much time in the box?
Well, and every single person from the back line to the middle of the field is responsible for what went on in this sequence of events. You can point a finger any which way you want if you're Matt Van Oekel. I'd point it at all of them. You see Richard Dixon not getting the job done. Jordan Cano, Ibiaga, Juan Pablo Guzman, all of them could have stepped up and won a tackle there, none of which did so. And again, it turned into a Phoenix goal. Second up, 2-0.
And here's a look at the numbers from the first 45 minutes. And like you mentioned, Devin, they're not dominating possession by any stretch of the imagination. They're actually losing that battle, but they're winning the war because of their ability to go forward in space on the counterattack.
Yeah, they go forward very tactile, and they go forward with purpose and emotion. And you can see it too. You can see their ability to play in and off of each other, and just, I made the analogy and allusion to it a little bit before, kind of poetry in motion, if you will, and everything just starts to kind of glide for them. Make no mistake about it though, OKC Energy has the capability as well, but switching coaches, switching personnel, switching formation, all of that can amount to frustration, a lot of which we're seeing on the defensive side of the ball.
Steve Cook's side still trying to find their rhythm. They were able to eke out a 1-0 win in week 1 against Tulsa in a battle for Oklahoma in the Black Gold Derby. Tuahene with the lone goal in that affair, but right now they're still searching for a breakthrough on the road here at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex in a hostile atmosphere, to say the least. We actually had a fan who tossed a beer bottle onto the field. Play was actually suspended for stoppage time, and we had to come back from break in order to finish up those 2 minutes, but here we are for the start of the second half. Devin, if you're Phoenix, I think it's more of the same from Patrice Carteron as far as the dressing room pep talk is concerned. Steve Cook, any idea of what's running through his head?
On a massive pot of hot boiling water, he wants to kick everybody into it. I mean, his frustration is mounted beyond belief, but it's kind of one of those things where you just walk into the dressing room and give your boys a reality check and say, hey, you know, we came out here to do a job. We haven't even gotten off the bus. I mean, again, going forward, you've seen some things here and there, a couple of spells. I've liked what I've seen out of Jonathan Brown, but look at the effect that Francis Tuahene had last week, and the going forward and defensively as well, and we haven't been able to say the same for Ima Tuamasi, and just the guys haven't really showed a lot of emotion or effort. And I get it, you're on the road, it's a night game, such a difficult environment to come into and play, but nonetheless, you're professional. Get the job done. You know, get your head back in the game, and you still got 45 minutes. As frustrating as that was, especially on the backside of the ball, as frustrating as it was and is, push forward, 45 minutes, let's go.
Second half underway for the Desert. Home opener for Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex, and all systems go at the moment. Devin just pointing out to me that Swope Park Rangers dominated Seattle Sounders 4-2. Another 2 goals for Carlton Belmar. And if you ever have the opportunity to see him play or watch him play, he is certainly worth it.
Gazelle stretching the field, and he is so fast and just quick, clever little feet. Tell that young man that high score is a good thing.
That might be a recurring theme for Swope. As this ball comes in and squirts out to the back post, it could be a lot of goals, but also giving up goals. They've scored 8 in their first 2 games, but they've given up 5.
Since we're on the Swope Park topic, we can make a little correlation to OKC Energy as they try and get back on track here this evening. Jimmy Nielsen stepping down from the helm of the Energy in November. His hat was actually, name was actually tossed into a hat on a short list for possible replacements at Swope Park for the management position.
Nikola Popovich, who was originally at the Swope Park Post, headed over to Ottawa. A ton of movement as far as from the technical piece, personnel, all over the United Soccer League, and obviously a number of teams coming into the league. Teams taking a hiatus, mainly OCB and Rochester Rhinos. Good play from Owako. Recovery there from Cano, who atoned for his sins of giving the ball away.
This is camera. Audio's embedded. Well, I turned down the.
Tumasi trying to get around Kevon Lambert, and a foul called in favor of Phoenix.
I turned down the levels here, and he said he completely lost that mic. See?
Asante, one of the 2 goal scorers, trying to flick it through for Awako. Jose Barril latching onto this one. Look at the strength from Kevon Lambert, just ushering him out of play. Fans, remember that the USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7, 366 days of the year. Follow @USL on Twitter. Johnson. Taken away by Juan Pablo Guzman. Room to run on the other end for OKC Energy FC. Jose Barril. Phoenix tracking back nicely. Barril lining it up from distance. It takes a deflection off the crossbar. OKC were that close to cutting the deficit in half. Certainly wouldn't have been the prettiest goals. From Awako. It's an interesting sequence.
Ball's going the other way, and you're waiting for him to lay it off and lay it off and lay it off. And much like in the first half where OKC weren't stepping, none of the Rising stepped up to get into the challenge and saying, hey, why not? I'll have a go. Bounce is going the wrong way for the Energy in the first half, but almost the right way in the second half.
Jose Barril. Tumasi. Richard Dixon getting forward from the outside back position. Dixon into the area. And Barril can't bring it down.
Another look, Jose Barril just coming up through the middle, and again, Phoenix giving him all the time in the world as he continuously comes down. Waz goes to ground, can't get his hands on it, instead it comes off the body. Excuse me, before Waz, my mistake. Dia going to ground and just comes right up over the top. Rising very fortunate that it doesn't find the back of the net.
Lambert with a great ball forward for Dia. Tumasi out to defend. Dia putting on the moves, but Tumasi not having any of it. Jose Barril. Luigi Mala, this time's the tackle. And Miguel Gonzalez furious with the referee that he didn't get the call. And now a yellow card for dissent. That's the second one for dissent for OKC Energy FC tonight. As Gonzalez not happy with the call from Malik Badawai. Now 3 players for OKC on yellow card.
You got to keep your emotions in check in situations like that. Again, on the road in 52nd minute. So much opportunity for your squad still, and can't let things like that boil over. As you mentioned, Tyler, 3 guys sitting on yellows now, and not exactly a stat that you like to rack up. I did, but
you're special though.
To each their own.
Johnson not going to be able to get there. Out of the reach of Jonathan Brown, and as you mentioned, Devin, just frustration continuing to mount for Steve Cook's side. But to be fair, they've come across an opponent who really is superior as far as moving the ball and getting forward. In the home opener, it's been a lively crowd, a little bit of time difference to deal with, and Phoenix is just taking advantage of this opportunity in their debut here in 2018 in front of their home fans, and they've run with it.
Well, and the Energy need to keep an eye on that. They just need to stay composed. I mean, you've seen them keep some decent shape and be able to move the ball forward. And getting into the final third, not a boatload going on, but still very capable for sure. But again, on the defensive side of the ball, they've just continuously made mistake after mistake, putting themselves behind the 8 ball. And it's one thing to have all of your guys behind the ball and defending the Rising. Not saying that it's an easy thing to do, but you know, gives you much better opportunity. But instead, they're getting the ball at their feet and turning it over and let the Rising go back on them on the counter, or moving the ball in the middle of the field and just this tiniest little slip-ups, losing their composure, losing their heads. Things that you expect almost routine at this level. And the Energy just making poor decision after poor decision.
Waz with a cool head, able to find Kevon Lambert, and look at OKC Energy track down the ball. They've been much more lively here in the second half defensively. And as we've seen from teams that have had an enormous amount of success in the USL, defense travels, being able to press, being able to turn the other team over, it goes a long way. New York Red Bulls, too, are a prime example of that. A team that, you know, struggled throughout courses of 2017, a team that nobody expected to get to the Eastern Conference Championship game, but that style of play travels, and it does well on the road, and they were a 7 seed, so there was no way they were going to get a home game, and they were able to battle their way to results, and maybe it's this page out of New York Red Bull 2's book that OKC Energy could maybe benefit from.
Well, you know, and they say confidence breeds confidence. Everything starts to become contagious as you're going forward, and a tiny little opportunity, not able to capitalize on it, but then on the defensive side of the ball, as you said, things start to get a little bit better, and you get forward, you gain it, you push up, the emotions start to pull up on a positive manner a little bit more, and like you said, Tyler, on a road in a situation like this, especially now that they're on the home end, you got to do something to get yourself back into this match.
And to be fair, OKC Energy was a team who were that. I think they embodied that last season. They obviously were a 6 seed. They went to Reno, they went to San Antonio and got results, and they just put themselves in a position where it just took 1 goal or a penalty kick shootout. And Vucic was, you know, Mr. October of Oklahoma City. But now they're under a new head coach in Steve Cook, and there was one thing that we knew about Jimmy Nielsen's team. They were really going to be hard-nosed in the back, and as a former goalkeeper, he saw the entire field but was mainly responsible for organizing the back line, and you could see that in his team style of play. Steve Cook, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, does not have a playing experience really at all to speak of, but there are obviously things that Steve Cook are going to bring to the table that Jimmy Nielsen could not, and it's all going to take time, but it's going to have to play out, and there are going to be some growing pains.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing. That's the hardest frustration, is you only get so much time in preseason to, number one, get your squad together, but obviously to gain that chemistry that we reference in a lot of our broadcasts and conversations, and just growing pains throughout the season itself. It's so frustrating. I mean, you can see they're night and day from last match. I mean, 100%. They are much more organized, and things have gotten better. I actually think they did a better job defensively last match, but going forward, offensively, it's been much better, and you just got to be able to transition and do things on both sides of the ball, and it just hasn't come full circle yet.
Devontae DeBose getting forward. For Owako. Flag stays down. Al Highland comes over for the double team, but concedes a corner in the process. I think that the most encouraging side for Phoenix was getting that second goal. And that was Patrice Carteron's biggest concern heading into this week was, he's not concerned about getting the first goal. I mean, there's enough firepower on this team to field 2 competitive USL teams.
It changed the game in a moment's notice.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
for sure.
Fernandez on top of the corner. Brought to you by Carvana. Loop ball towards the back post. Put on frame and handled by Van Oekel. Jonathan Brown sprung the other way. Phoenix trying to get back behind the ball. Fans, have you got what it takes to beat the experts on USLsoccer.com? Show off your knowledge of the league by picking the right results of the USL's matchups each week of the season. And actually, it was the fans who came away victorious over Mike Watts and Nicholas Murray in week number 1. Shows you how much they know.
I'll tell you something interesting from a personnel standpoint just a second ago as OKC in transition making their way down the field. I see this player coming up, running, and I almost had to take a second look to make sure we didn't miss a substitution as I see Callum Ross streaking down the middle of the field. I don't think we've called his name at all the entire game.
I miscalled his name. I called him Sam Fink at the beginning of the
game. There you go,
that
yes.
was it.
So, I mean, frustration for sure. You don't exactly want your holding midfielder to be referenced a lot, but to not have really called his name at all, name at all, yet alone in the wrong manner or the wrong person, I mean, they got to get these guys involved.
That was bound to happen. Here's Callum Ross in his second year of professional soccer. Won a national title at the Division II level with Wingate in 2016, the 23-year-old from Newcastle. And really did a great job with Mike Jeffries, and he fit into that system extremely well in Charlotte as Chris Cortez played into some space. Early delivery over the head of Jason Johnson, who's making that darting run towards the back post. Penetrating ball into Johnson. Just through the legs of Callum Ross. Jose Barril. Spaniard looking for an option. Not a bad idea. Tomasi into the area. Wazinski makes a huge save, but it came at a price. Waz got his bell rung. But as a goalkeeper,
that's our goalie too, right?
Part of the job description, sacrificing the body. And Carl appears to be okay.
There's a rough 50-50 challenge for Waz for sure, but I'll tell you, Tomasi talked about stretching the game, and Atuaheni doing it in the first match versus Tulsa. Wow.
What a ball from Barril.
What a ball from Jose Barril. Great ball in behind the back line. Super clever. The tiniest of windows, he fits it in. Excuse me, that's actually Richard Dixon getting stuck in. Better from OKC though, good vision.
It's handled by Owako. OKC Energy FC will get a second crack at this one.
I talked about Jonathan Brown at the top of the broadcast and his good service and this, that, and the other. One thing I'd like to be a little bit critical on is he tends to be pretty direct, almost things being worked out. Put it in the mixer, put something right in the middle of the box, like that. Give someone an opportunity to get on the end of it. You'll see a lot of balls to the near post or things floated to the back post. And it's great to incorporate things from the training ground, but also got to give guys an opportunity to just go up and get it sometimes.
Well, as Kyle Highland touches the ball, here's my question. As one of the only lefties on the field for OKC Energy FC, on that side, why isn't Highland taking the corner? I know that he's back there for defensive balance, but you could throw somebody else back there, get an in-swinger.
Yeah, we talked about that as well, and you got that big frame of Jonathan Brown, this amazing forward that you've brought in, and don't let him get on the end of anything. I mean, he's basically laying chase all game long, especially in this situation versus Phoenix. And so frustration mounting for him, not getting a lot of touches. And as a forward, you don't have the ball at your feet. You're frustrated. You're not a happy camper. Why not, like you said, switch things up and get him on the other end of those opportunities if possible, especially with the left footer. Steve Cook on the dugout phone. Give him a little ring. Doesn't exist, but I'm sure he'd appreciate your input.
I don't think he would. Patrice is a different story. Corner kick coming up from Colin Fernandez, brought to you by Carvana. Decent ball in. Kyle Highland actually gets there.
Keep an eye on OKC right now. You see Burrell pushing all the way up high on the pitch, but if he's going to push that high, everybody else needs to push with him. Instead, you just leave so much space in the middle of the field's wide open now.
Johnson taken down from behind by Christian Ibiaga. Christian, of course, the older brother of Sebastian Ibiaga. He was one of the best defenders in the United Soccer League a year ago. Made the move to NYCFC in the offseason. Both played for the Duke Blue Devils, who are marching on to the Elite Eight.
Look down for a second. Referee's already got the dust out. Marked off 10 yards. There's no way that's 10 yards.
Fernandez on top of the free kick. Good opportunity for Phoenix here. Fernandez, good ball in. Ibiaga is there defensively.
Good tackle.
Tomasi. Brown, delivery. Doesn't get past Devontae. Here's Callum Ross. Tomasi shows a bit too much of that to Owako. He's able to win it. They play quickly. Asante gliding up the pitch. Forward for Cortez. Van Oekel snatches it out of the air. More than an hour played here at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex. Tyler Terrens along with ex-German pro Devin Kerr. 2-0 lead for Phoenix in their home opener of 2018. Solomon Asante got us started, and Chris Cortez gave us the second goal right before the stroke of halftime. And OKC has been chasing the game ever since. Highland. Brown. Not a bad ball in with his left foot. Not exactly sure where that clearance was going.
It's a great job from Jonathan Brown. Nice little turn. As you mentioned, great ball to the back post, but again, no one in on the receiving side of things.
And Alex Dixon coming on now. Former UNC Tar Heel from 2008 to 2010. And this substitute brought to you by Capriati's Sandwich Shop, as Dixon comes on to replace Miguel Gonzalez, who is sitting on a yellow card. And that's the other thing is, you know, as a player, you want to stay on the field as long as possible. Nobody likes getting taken off, and you're going to put yourself in that position if you're getting yellow cards for silly things like the center.
Especially with Miguel Gonzalez and Alex Dixon fighting so much on the left side of the pitch. Alex Dixon getting the start last game, and Gonzalez showing Steve Cook that he deservedly so should have been the starter. So he comes out in the second match, and like you said, Tyler, just throws himself into the deep end right away, getting that yellow card and causing frustration. But again, maybe tactically give Cook and the boys a little bit of a boost here in the second half, switch things up and change things up on that left-hand side, give them a better opportunity.
Dixon getting his first touch. Sends it across. Handled poorly by Mala, but Kevon Lambert is there to clean up the pieces. As far as Highland, back in for Brown, trying to lay it off for Tumasi. Tumasi fighting his way through. It takes it. OKC Energy bounce. And it'll be a corner kick coming up, and Tumasi, a bull in a china shop, just trying to make something happen.
Yeah, solid perseverance, though, and just continuously trying to push back there. And Luigi Mala going to thank his lucky stars that didn't creep into the near post. I tell you though, in the 70th minute, doesn't really look like a squad that's down 2-0. They're not really pushing that hard, trying to get that goal. Step back on the match, back into the page.
Skill from Baril. In for Brown. 1v1 with Mala. Jonathan Brown was bullied off the ball. Great defending from Luigi Mala.
That's textbook defending from Luigi Mala. I don't know what Jonathan Brown is trying to make his case for with our referee. And surprised Brown didn't put that on his right foot, actually, as Mala tends to shift to the right side of the field in the center back position. Not as strong on his left foot, maybe cut in on him and try and have a go on far post, but puts him on the left nonetheless, and just solid defending by the center back.
Phoenix Rising fans, you can win 4 Phoenix Rising tickets just by watching Phoenix Rising on YourView Arizona. All you have to do is listen for the keyword and then enter it on social media, and you could win. Plus, all winners are entered to win the grand prize and all expenses paid trip to watch Phoenix Rising take on Las Vegas Lights FC on October 10th. Tonight's keyword, home. Alex Dixon. All over the top, Tumasi. Get there, and Brzezinski reading it the whole way. 20 minutes left in this one. Phoenix not much closer to the first 3 points of 2018 and to accomplishing Patrice Carteron's overall message in our conference with him earlier in the week. 1 point on the road, 3 points at home. That'll be enough for now, and really throughout the entire season. If you're able to pull that off, you're going to be in a top 4 spot.
Mathematically, that works out. Yeah, that's good.
Most of the time.
No, yeah, much more. He also said there's much more pleasure out of watching us play, and that he wants to give the fans something happy for them to see in those exact words. And I mean, if anything, they've given him that and more here this evening. I'm not counting out the energy just yet. There's still 19 plus stoppage to get back into the game, but hasn't really shown a lot to say that they're going to have an argument in the closing moments of this game. Love to see Steve Cook and those guys regroup and get things back in motion, but the Rising have done a great job start to finish, top to bottom, all around here.
Tumasi finding his way through, able to win a corner for OKC Energy FC, who continue to lightly knock on the door. Phoenix have had the answers thus far. Jonathan Brown will be an outswinger again. Driven ball, Kevon Lambert. It's their first, and Devin, you just continually shake your head at these corner kicks and quality of the delivery. There's Baril. It's not a bad delivery over the head of Dia. And it's going the other way.
Well, they're not switching things up, but also he just puts that one in. And forget about not switching it up for a second. He just puts that ball right about 7 or 8 yards from the goal line. Kevon Lambert steps up for the 50-50 challenge, heads it, then steps up and wins it again, 12 yards out, just inside the 18. I mean, on OKC's side of the ball, how does someone not get on the first ball? And then how do you let him continue to win the second ball? Your midfielder's got to step up, lay chase, do something. I mean, show some sort of effort.
Show some sort of energy.
Yeah, there you go. Did it again. I see what you did there.
Well, I caught you at the 4-minute mark, you know. Gladson Awako is giving chase. Cano goes back for Van Oekel. A little bit of work to do for the 31-year-old keeper. And he thumps it the other way. Richard Dixon making life difficult for Phoenix. And substitution coming on for Phoenix. Looks like it's the youngster Luca Ricci making his Phoenix Rising debut to replace Gladson Awako, and this substitute brought to you by Capriati's Sandwich Shop. Fanatically delicious subs. Gladson Awako exits. A nice round of applause, and Luca Ricci comes on. Ricci getting his first competitive minutes for the club. Didn't see much of him during the preseason. Just 19 years of age. Was with the Montreal Academy for a number of years. Not to be confused with Alessandro Rigi.
I'm not going to do it. I had to wait. Oh, I tried to hold it in.
It's never a good idea.
Ah, Sandro Rigi, the bearded man. He haunts my dreams.
He haunts your dreams?
It's from a movie. Look it up.
Jose Bosch was kind enough to point it out to us during the preseason that his beard is naturally colored. Indeed, it is glorious.
I felt bad about that one. I really thought it was a dye job, but he's just glorious in every way, shape, and form.
Something else that are glorious. The Phoenix Rising kits this year. It's absolutely sensational. Still waiting on ours from Jose Bosch.
Apparently it's on back order.
You think?
Supposedly.
All right. Still waiting on him.
We'll reach out for the delivery notification again, see if he can send us a new one.
Well, he's got to be in a good mood as Michigan Wolverines headed to the Final Four. Got to catch him tonight if we're going to.
Right.
Baril. Richard Dixon. Tumasi. We get around Jason Johnson. And there's the call from the referee. And a free kick coming up. Long range effort. Sailing over the bar. As OKC getting better served. Getting some bodies in the box and whipping something in.
And that's just a continuation of the frustration we've referenced a few times, how it just builds and builds. And as a player, you step up and referee how much time on the watch. You're down 2-0, 15 minutes to go. Callum Ross is trying to take matters into his own hands. Still plenty of time.
Good cutout from Jason Johnson. Phoenix looking to take advantage on the counter. Chris Cortez just could not get that first touch right. Credit to Cano, who was with him every step of the way. Here's Jose Barril. Leading the charge on the other end. Jonathan Brown skipping around DeBose and his service. Never getting past Kevon Lambert. These are the moments that Patrice Carteron were trying to avoid. Alex Dixon keeps it in play. Finding his brother Richard. Juan Pablo Guzman. Alex Dixon has scored a handful of goals in 2017. Was electric out on the wing for Jimmy Nielsen.
See a little possession here from OKC, a little bit better, but don't turn the ball over unnecessary like that. He did so well and worked so hard pushing Phoenix Rising into their own defensive third. Keep them there now. That's well done.
Ricci gives it away. Jose Barril. A bit more sense of urgency now from OKC as we approach the dying moments of this one. Brown into the box and forces a clearance from Mala. I hate to give myself a little bit of a pat on the back here, but it's that sense of urgency that I think we haven't seen from OKC Energy in the attacking third. Once they get there, it's almost like a standstill.
And it's the first time as well where we've seen them turn the ball over and they didn't retreat. A lot of times they were turning it over and Phoenix having their way, going the other direction, just pushing numbers.
As Jaime Siage coming onto the scene here to replace Juan Pablo Guzman, and that substitute brought to you by Capriani Sandwich Shop. Fanatically delicious subs. Kyle Hyland, just 10 minutes remaining plus stoppage time, loops it into the air, and Carl Wazinski going up to get it.
Solid goalkeeping by Waz. See Ibiaga looking over his shoulder, not knowing where it's coming from.
Great distribution on the other end. Van Oekel comes flying out and collides with his own player, Kyle Hyland. And he suffered a head injury. And rightfully so. Malik Badawai stopping play immediately. And Hyland is out.
I'll tell you, Matt Van Oekel, very advantageous coming off his line way out, and that is just communication for sure. Kyle Hyland colliding with his goalkeeper. That's the scary types of things you never want to see. Catching a knee to the head there, and hopefully the training staff can cover Kyle Hyland, get him right back on track.
Well, it's good to see from the athletic trainer motioning for a substitute immediately, because there's no reason for Kyle Hyland with 10 minutes left in this game to come back onto the field.
Well, in this day and age, they're so careful with all the studies and everything that's gone in with head injuries. Just the tiniest little knocks that can push your body into overdrive, and whether it be now or a day from now, the adverse effects that can have on you. So very careful and smart by OKC. As you can see, Hyland visibly shaken up. He got his bell rung by his goalkeeper.
He's having a tough time standing up. That's a scary sight. going to be Joseph Ajayi, the 22-year-old from Ghana, coming on to replace Kyle Hyland. Substitute brought to you by Capriati's Sandwich Shop. Fanatically delicious subs. Ricci. Holding play up, finding Asante. Asante whipping it in. Ibeagha nodding it down only as far as Fernandez. Colin Fernandez around the first defender, around two defenders. Cortez! 3 goals for Phoenix, and it'll be 3 points for Phoenix. Chris Cortez is second of the night. 3-0 to the home side.
I'll tell you what, fun little connection we've seen. The CNC brothers, Colin Fernandez and Chris Cortez, doing a great job. How good has Colin Fernandez been in the first 2 games of this season? So technical, clever footwork, does all the work, just says, hey mate, you know what, you finish this one off. What a great job as Cortez is gonna get the brace. Super impressive by Colin Fernandez, and Chris Cortez just steps up, and as you said, Tyler, he's gonna finish this game off and gain an excellent 3 points for Phoenix Rising in their home opener.
Chris Cortez called game. It's a beautiful finish. Had the composure to just place it up in the top corner. Sometimes you'll see strikers lose their heads in that type of situation, but Chris Cortez has his head firmly in the middle of his shoulders and just continues to impress for Phoenix. A brace on the night. Colin Fernandez, credit him with the assist. And lock it up for Phoenix.
And I know there's only about 6 minutes left, but something to keep an eye on as Kyle Hyland with that head injury had to step out and Joseph Ajayi steps in. He's actually going to slide into a center back position, and they've moved Jordan Cano out on wide on the left. So watch as the youngster makes the transition, see what effect he may have on the outside.
Loose ball in front. Cano, big save from Waz, and it's turned in. Christian Ibeagha gets one back for OKC Energy FC. His first goal in green. There will be no shutout in the home opener for Phoenix. 3-1.
Well, I'll tell you what, wasn't exactly in an open run of play, but almost on cue, Jordan Cano stepping in and says, hey, you know what? Calling my name so many times for the frustration I gave in the middle, let me help us back into the game. As you see Cano just, wow, good job. Puts a little ball on frame, and Ibeagha following up. Haven't seen that all night long. The two defenders combining to try and creep back into this match. 5 minutes remaining. Maybe a little life left in the energy yet.
Christian Ibeagha, right place at the right time. He has 6 goals in his professional career, making number 7 now. 2 goals with North Carolina FC in 2017. Obviously, as a center back, doesn't get a ton of opportunities. Doesn't have that dynamic aerial ability as you sometimes see from great center backs around USL. First one that comes to my mind is Forrest Lasso, now with FC Cincinnati. But Ibeagha getting one back for OKC Energy FC, more a point of pride of anything at this point, but always good to see the ball go in the back of the net.
I tell you, if you're Steve Cook, you know, a little bit of a response from your squad. It's definitely a positive impact, and seeing if you can close this game out with a solid 10 minutes at least and try and grow something into next week in your next match. They're going to have to take on a very talented Orange County team March 28th. Another home game. Orange County, as they're going to be touch and go in their first couple matches, home away, almost alternating evenly.
Jaime Siage battling his way through. Came over from the Charlotte Independents, like Callum Ross. This one sent through and will be handled by Carl Wazinski. And we have our official attendance numbers for the night. 7,828. Second largest crowd on hand to see a Phoenix Rising FC game. We're now 4 minutes of stoppage time, but you know, the atmosphere has been electric, and to anybody in the Phoenix area who has not been to a game yet, it is quite the spectacle, and the product on the field worth the price of admission and then some.
Solid combination for sure. The electricity here has sucked out all the energy from OKC.
I see what you did there.
You're welcome. I'll tell you one thing, if I'm Steve Cook going into my review of the game, have a couple words with my players about learning to maybe speak to the referee a little bit less. A lot of complaining on the field tonight, which has caused a few cards.
And a big collision there between Wazinski and it looks like Jaime Siage, and Wazinski just bulldozed over through Siage, and Siage wants a piece of Wazinski, as does basically the entire OKC Energy team. Actually, it looked like it was Jose Barril. Still some kicking going on. A little bit of extracurricular activity, and talked about frustration mounting up, Devin. And this is sort of the boiling point now, as we'll take a look as to exactly how and why this unfolded. It was Jaime Siage, as he just runs straight into Wazinski. Was not really diverting his path and doing a little Allen Iverson step over.
Yeah, that's just the energy kind of boiling over, and Was making his presence known, as he always tries to do.
And a yellow card for Was.
To be fair, I understand it's in the box, but he's almost asking for it at that point in time when you're going down.
Was or Siage?
Was. Listen, hear me out for a second. As a goalkeeper, he knew what he was doing. He was delaying the game. As every right he did. He had the right to do that, but the ball's rolling to him. He could have just picked it up and he didn't, and that's fine. But he has to understand that there may be some sort of pressure coming his direction.
So you don't fault Siage at all for just running into it?
No, I fault him as well. But I'm saying Was should have probably expected something like coming in his direction. I mean, you're cruising 3-1. You've frustrated them all night long. Do you honestly believe that someone's not going to come step into that?
Fair.
It's kind of been a tale of two games for Devontae DeBose on the right side in the first match. So active and an integral part of their offense going forward, and had a great job defending, and haven't really called his name at all tonight. So the Rising have utilized the left side of the pitch a little bit more.
It's Alex Dixon. It's a deflection off Kavan Lambert. So we'll have 5 minutes of stoppage time here in the desert. And around 3 minutes now separating Phoenix between their first 3 points of the season. As Jonathan Brown sprints over to go take the corner kick. Brought to you as always by Carvana. Brown, much better delivery. There's Cortez back there for defensive responsibilities using that big frame.
Smart clearance by Jason Johnson just to knock the ball out and reset and give his team an opportunity to get organized again.
Siage. Great tackle from DeBose.
Get up.
Baril. Bad ball in. Most of what OKC Energy FC has been able to muster up from an offensive standpoint has gone through that man, Jose Baril, as it did for large portions of last season. Luca Ricci letting it run through. Options in the box. Ricci looking for Cortez! Hats off to Chris Cortez. It's a hat trick in the home opener in 2018. What a moment for the big man. 4-1.
Well, once again, OKC Energy hanging themselves out to dry. Just frustration after frustration as the right back Richard Dixon stepped up and just tried to get in front of the runner. And Luca Ricci, great vision. Well done to slow pace down as they were going so quick. And they say three's company, but I'll tell you what, Chris Cortez is going to be more than happy to step into that saying and put his name up in the limelight here this evening. What a great shift that young man has put in.
And now it's going to be Alessandro Ricci to come on and to replace Solomon Asante, who got things started and got the party started here in the desert. And he comes off to a big ovation. Substitute brought to you by Capriani Sandwich Shop. Fanatically delicious subs. And Chris Cortez has had a delicious contest. Ricci, forward for Ricci. Could there be a fifth in store? Ricci towards the back post. Trying to pick out Cortez and get number 4 potentially. And that's gonna do it. Phoenix Rising FC get their first 3 points of 2018, and they do it in front of their home crowd. Chris Cortez with a hat trick. Magnificent performance from the striker, making the most out of his first start of 2018. Devin Kerr, your thoughts?
Yeah, start to finish, Phoenix Rising the better squad. Went forward with intent, went forward with pace, defended well. Structurally, they were very well organized, and OKC Energy just had no answer whatsoever for Chris Cortez up top. The back line constantly searching for answers. Matt Van Uckel couldn't get it done in goal. And again, behind the 8 ball, 4-1, losers, back to the drawing board.
Post-game in just a few moments, final score, Phoenix Rising FC 4, OKC Energy FC 1.
If you just sign that first
I'm
one
so
there.
sorry.
we'll get
I
the-
don't feel comfortable signing that.
I don't get the math here.
Was this the same car we talked about?
What's this dealer preparation fee?
I'm so sorry. This just is not.
What we talked about.
Get the car without the car salesman. Carvana, the new way to buy a car.
If you just sign that first
I'm
one
so
there.
sorry.
we'll get
I
the-
don't feel comfortable signing that.
I don't get the math here.
Was this the same car we talked about?
What's this dealer preparation fee?
I'm so sorry. This just is not.
What we talked about.
Get the car without the car salesman. Carvana, the new way to buy a car.
time here at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex, and it's all smiles for the boys in red. A 4-1 victory over OKC Energy FC. Chris Cortez with a hat trick in the home opener here in the desert. And with the Phoenix Rising FC's win, you at home also win for the next 24 hours. You can buy in sideline seats to our April 7th match for just $15. Find the link on all of Phoenix Rising social media accounts right now. And Devin will take a look at some of the best moments from tonight, and there were a handful.
Oh, don't forget Chris Cortez, the 3 goals. How about the assist? Ball coming back, tracking back, nice little flick on, and Salomon Asante getting on the end. Scored a great one in the first game, scored a screamer here in the second, and it's just Rising continuously pushing. But again, OKC, 50-50 ball, 50-50 ball. Continuously over and over, could not make the challenges that they needed to, and they hung Matt Van Oekel out to dry. That was the theme for the evening.
Chris Cortez getting his first of the night right there. And OKC Energy would have a couple of decent opportunities. This one off the crossbar as it took a mean deflection off Luigi Mala. But that would really be it until they got their goal eventually. This was a great ball through from Jose Barrio, but Wazinski was up to the task. And then how about this work from Colin Fernandez?
Yeah, and again, it just goes back to the frustration by the back line. You're, as a defender, you learn, you don't clear to the center of the box. And sure enough, stepping in, Colin Fernandez, what a great job he's done in the middle of the field, and just nice little touch work. Gives it off. Cortez says thank you very much. And then again, Energy fighting back in, but not to be outdone, stepping up, getting his 3rd of the evening, and Phoenix the Rising, they were flying tonight.
What a performance from Cortez as we take a look at the numbers from the 90 minutes you just saw. And OKC Energy, they had the possession statistic in the back pocket, but at the end of the day, they get dominated. And really the one statistic that matters, and that's the one at the top of your screen. Goals 4-1 the final score. And, you know, from a shot perspective, it wasn't, you know, a total domination, but anybody who watched the game could see that Phoenix, when they were going forward, were clearly the more dangerous team.
Defending, they were phenomenal as well. I mean, that was the biggest question mark for the Rising coming into the season, what was going to be, and they've answered those questions so far in the first 2 matches for the most part. And OKC Energy, you see the frustrations from Steve Cook and his transition, new regime, new players, new formation. I think it's going to get better, though. You could see them, they had the opportunity and the capability to do things. They just need to do it consistently, and we didn't see that here this evening.
Well, Phoenix come away with their first 3 points of the season. As we mentioned before, and with the Phoenix Rising FC's win, you at home also win. For the next 24 hours, you can buy in sideline seats to our April 7th match for just $15. Find the link on all of Phoenix Rising social media accounts right now. 4-1 victory for the boys in red and black, their first win of the season. And Salomon Asante, we know where you're coming from. It was a war here at Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex, but Phoenix comes away with the win. 4-1 the final score. Chris Cortez with the hat trick. For my broadcast partner, Devin Kerr, and our entire crew, I'm Tyler Terrence saying so long for now. Phoenix come away with their first 3 points of the season by a final score of 4-1 over OKC. We'll talk to you soon, folks.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.